ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, welcome to the Nerd HQ stage, very warmly, very fondly, Elijah Wood! Get on in here, son.
I feel so far away from you, Zach.
Should we get more intimate?
This is just so...
Hold on, let me...
I feel like I might as well be back down here.
We do this, well, because I don't want to... It's like, it's your panel, you know? Like, I don't want to...
It's our panel, Zach.
Well...
You know, I don't...
That's super sweet of you to say. Guys, dude, Elijah Wood made it.
Hi, guys.
Thank you for fitting us in your busy schedule.
Yeah,
we know how
fine.
crazy the con can be.
It can be crazy.
And this can be some
This
of
is a breath of fresh air, though.
Oh, man, I like that.
It is.
It's pretty intimate, right?
It is really intimate.
It's very intimate.
And you all have your phones out. This is the world we live in.
I know.
Where we can't experience anything subjectively. We have to do it through our phones. Hi, welcome to 2015.
How many people watch concerts? They watch concerts
Oh, dude, it drives me crazy.
I know.
Put the phone down. The band's right there.
Yeah. And the recording later is no good.
No, you don't. And
good.
you also don't watch it.
And you don't watch it.
When do you record a band? I've done it, guys. I've done it. We all have.
Yeah.
I was at Radiohead and I recorded it, and I never watched it. I put it on my computer. Like, that's cool.
Yeah. And who do you show it to later?
Right, and it's, what, 30 seconds each? Like, I'm not...
Of just, like, really blurry video with bad sound. Yeah.
Right.
But you're like, oh, that's right, I did that.
I was there.
Yeah. Who has any burning questions for Mr. Wood? Just shoot your hand up and he will call on you. Oh, I see. You want to call this guy in the front right here? He seems very enthusiastic.
Hey.
Let's get this man a microphone.
What is your T-shirt? I have the cape. I make the whoosh noises. I like that. I like that. Really taking his position of power.
Thank you. So my question is about the movie Maniac.
Okay.
How did you actually prepare for that role? Because that's like a really intense role to take.
Yeah, that role was interesting because it's sort of a role done in 3 parts in a way. So for anybody who hasn't seen the movie, it's completely in the POV, or 70, 80% of the movie is in POV. So largely my experience was behind the camera. So that was very interesting. I was kind of on set all the time, blocking out the scenes in a very traditional way with the DP and the other actors. And then the DP would try and fit into where I would move for whatever that scene was. And then I would trail behind him and look for ways to kind of interject myself physically, sort of like break, you know, the frame and get a hand in. And we had a double for any time that 2 hands had to break frame because I couldn't get my both hands around. So that was the experience of making it on set. And then there was also these sort of moments where you would see me from a third perspective whenever I would kill somebody, which was always very intense. But it felt to me that the character was kind of made in voiceover in a way. So when we went into the studio after the film was cut together, and I had to re-record all of the dialogue. Even though we recorded dialogue on the day, I always knew we'd have to go back and re-record stuff and find nuances. So for me, the character really came to life psychologically in that process. And it's an intense place to go. He was a very disturbed character. But I loved the experience. And I was excited mainly about creating something, because I don't like remakes, and so initially I was a little reticent to do it. But because it was made in a very different way from the original film's worth seeing. It's really something. But because the entire thing was going to be in POV, I was really excited that it would create a completely new experience for people and potentially be a little bit more disturbing, because in some ways it provides an entry into the psychology of this man in a way that you wouldn't be able to achieve otherwise. So,
good question.
That was a good question.
Hands are up.
Long answer.
Who do you want to go to, Elijah? Oh, you answer as long as you want. Okay. Oh, that's what we do here. We just get long-winded and tangential.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right. Green face.
That's what I called her.
I don't always get the references. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, stand up, please. Stand up.
Oh, sorry. Hi.
Hey.
Do you prefer playing very morally straight characters, or do you actually like kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of some of the more
moral ambiguity is fun. I don't know. I like to play characters. Oh, thank you. Oh, great. We
full
can't
service.
I see. I think it was because there was a label. We couldn't have that label. Anyway, I like to play characters that are a little bit complicated. I think for an actor, a character that's sort of on the straight and narrow might not provide nuance or places to go in regards to the character arc. So it's always interesting to play characters that have somewhere to go, and I think moral ambiguity provides that. So those are the most interesting, I think. And also characters that are far away from who you are, I think, in some ways are the most exciting to play too, because you have to move out of yourself to inhabit something that is not like you. And that's always more fun and challenging, I think.
Do you feel like there's a piece of you in every character you play?
Probably. I think there kind of has to be on some level. Because it's all, I mean, any character that you play it's all based on your experience, whether it's your own personal experience or learned experience or observed experience. So it can't help but be from you on some level.
Yeah.
You are the vessel. And so, yeah, there's always a little piece somewhere.
Yeah. Next question.
Right. Oh, I'm the one.
Yeah, you get to pick.
This is weird. I'm not used to this, guys. I'm so not used to this. I'm so sorry. I'm the picker. The one there to the left, there with your hand up.
Hi, Elijah.
Hi.
I have a lot of friends in the UK, and they really like Green Street Hooligans.
Oh, cool.
So she wants to give a Green Street Hooligan headbutt to you. The first question.
That sounds fun and dangerous.
She wants to headbutt
It's like
me?
a UK thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, she
totally.
wants to headbutt you.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a
It's a
two-part
term
question.
of endearment.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like a hug. It's like a Manchester hug.
Exactly. So the first question is, are you a West Ham fan? And if not, what fan are you for football? And the second question is, can you put on a Cockney accent?
Oh. Accent at request is always nerve-wracking. So I feel like I'll mess it up. I'm actually not really a sports fan at all. I get asked that about West Ham because of the film, so there's an assumption that having played a West Ham fan, I am a West Ham fan, which is fair enough. But I don't really support any sport. It's funny, I grew up in Iowa until I was 8, and I grew up in a family that very much loved football, basketball, and loved sports. My brother's a huge sports fan, loves hockey. So I very much grew up in that environment of people being obsessed with sports. And it just never took. I do not care at all. I am movies, video games. I'm a nerd, okay? Sports don't enter into the equation. The only time I play sports is probably like through a video game. My sport is collecting records. That's what I do. And a Cockney accent.
You don't have to.
I don't know.
You don't have to. This is not Dance Monkey Dance time. We can say no.
I might pass on that, but it might just come out later. We'll see.
That sounds fair.
All right.
Next question.
Right. Oh, you're standing up. There was an eagerness. Okay. Hi.
Hi, Elijah. How are you?
Hi. I'm very well. How are you?
Good, I'm good. So you started off as a child actor. How did that come about, and what was that like for you? Because I know that for a lot of child actors, it's challenging as they grow up, and you seem to have kind of stayed even-keeled throughout your career.
Well, I started when I was, I guess, 7 years old. I was living in Iowa. Prior to moving to California, maybe around 5 or 6, my mother saw a commercial on TV, and she sort of saw that commercial, was inspired, and thought, oh, that would be something fun for Elijah to do. I had a lot of energy growing up, and she thought that would be a good outlet for my energy. But there was no real way to go about it in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. There was like a modeling school, so this dovetails into my mini modeling career. Yeah. So there was a modeling school in Cedar Rapids, and so I went to this modeling school, and I would learn everything from runway and maybe like posing in photos and so on and so forth. So I actually did some runway modeling in malls in like Iowa City. So I've got photos of myself like standing on the end, like in like beachwear and sunglasses. I mean, it was awesome. Anyway, that school that I was involved in took a few of the students to California, to Los Angeles, for this thing called the IMTA, which is a Modeling and Talent Convention. So my brother and I and my mom went to this convention, and my brother's 7 years older, so he was already doing like plays and musicals and stuff in school. So he had a vested interest in acting and performing. So we went to Los Angeles. I met a manager there. This guy asked me, he sort of stopped me, and he asked me if I wanted to become an actor. And I was 7, so everything was exciting. You know, I was in Los Angeles. Palm trees were exciting. Like, everything about it was so new. So the notion of being an actor was a very exciting thing. So I said, yeah, that would be great. And basically what we did is my brother, my mother, and myself moved to Los Angeles for pilot season, thinking we would give that a try and see where it went. And we rented a place at the Oakwood Apartments. Does anybody know what the Oakwood Apartments are? Yeah. So that's where we lived, in like 3 or 4 units over the course of a year and a half. And I started auditioning, and I got my first job. It was a Paula Abdul music video. Directed by David Fincher, funnily enough, before he started making movies. Yeah, isn't that crazy? Dude, that blew my mind too. And it wasn't until I was like 25 that I realized that that was the case. I think I looked it up on IMDb, and it's like, wait, David Fincher? What? And so very shortly after that, I got a role in a film. And I think the first role I had in a movie was Back to the Future 2. Which, man, for firsts, is pretty insane. I was a big fan of the original movie, so the whole thing was pretty mind-blowing. And that sort of set forth this path in my life. And I loved it immediately. There was no question I wanted to do it. I had somehow an understanding of what it is that I was doing, which I still don't get. It's a weird thing as you get older and you think about your mind from when you were a child, it's now informed from an adult intellect. So I can no longer access like what I thought then. I can only intellectualize it as an adult. So it's probably inaccurate. But I don't know where to go with this beyond as far as my early life is concerned and how it informed on me then. No.
There we go. Keep going.
Is this where you guys tag out?
Get out.
Boom! Bye, Zach.
Hey, Elijah.
Hey, dude.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
I remember when we met. Oh my God, I think about that often. Because it was moments ago. So I interrupted you, please.
No, it's okay. So I think you were talking about the notion of how working as an actor ultimately informed my life now and who I am as a person and how I was able to sort of, avoid the typical trappings of what happens to one who starts so young. It's all my mother, honestly. It's really simple. I had a super solid foundation. My mom never let me define myself by what I was doing. I was defined by who I was as a person. She drilled humility into me. And, if I would behave badly, she would threaten to take me out of the thing I love to do. So she always created this foundation that was very separate from the work that I was doing as an actor. So I had as much a sense of normalcy outside of the realm of the film industry as possible. And, it was incredible because by the time I became an adult and was operating as an actor on my own, I had this incredible sort of, backlog of rules and a viewpoint for which to draw upon and a foundation for which to draw upon. And that's really the simplest way I can answer that question. And pure luck, too. Aside from who I am as a person, as informed by my mother and also countless others and my own life experience, I was also lucky to keep working. I'm going to be 35 in January, and I
What?
I don't, I know.
35.
35.
Me too. I mean, that's why I'm freaking out. Me too.
81, dude, 81. But I constantly marvel that I get to do this. I love doing this more now than I've ever done it, and I'm involved in producing films, and I feel like I'm a part of a great community of creative people, and it's a gift. It's a total gift. Thanks. You, sir. You right there, yes.
So, hi. First.
Hello.
I was wondering how you got the crazy, huge role of Frodo in The Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that old story. Well, so the first time I heard about it was in 1997, I believe. I was in Austin, Texas, working on The Faculty. And yeah, I like that movie too. And Harry Knowles was in the film, but he's also an Austin staple. And Ain't It Cool News? Anybody? All right, so Harry and I became friends in that film, and I remember very distinctly one day we were shooting an exterior scene in a high school, and he came over and he was like, you know, Peter Jackson's making The Lord of the Rings. And of course I knew who Peter Jackson was, big fan of Heavenly Creatures and Brain Dead and all those films. And he's like, yeah, he's making Lord of the Rings, and you should be Frodo. So he kind of loves that, he takes credit for it a little bit. Like, I told you in 1997 that you were gonna play Frodo, and I was right. Well, he was. So that put it in my head, but it also seemed like the farthest from a real possibility for me. I mean, at the time, he wasn't even casting the film, so it wasn't until 1998, I think, sort of late 98, that he started casting. And it was sort of a worldwide casting sort of call, and people in New York and London and Los Angeles were going into these casting offices and putting themselves on tape or being put on tape by a casting director. So that was basically the option that I had. I couldn't meet him because he was traveling around. And I immediately thought, well, first things, I actually went to the casting office in LA and I read the script because they weren't giving the script out. It was under lock and key. So you had to go to a room and sit there and read it, and you couldn't take it with you. So I'll never forget that, because I went and read the script for The Fellowship of the Ring, and it was like I'd traveled to Middle-earth. Suddenly, I remember driving home and thinking that there were like orcs and goblins following me in my car. It was so transportive. I really remember that distinctly. It was really powerful. So then my agent said, okay, so we'll set up a meeting for you to go in, and I thought, I just don't, for this one, I don't feel like that's the move. I don't feel comfortable going into a casting office against a white background, with a standard video camera and sort of playing this character. I wanted to make an effort that would evoke the passion and excitement and enthusiasm that I had for being a part of it, and kind of, I don't know, give me some other upper hand or something. Make it special. I wanted to make it special and make an impression. So I decided to do my own tape, and I'd never done that before, but I said, I'm gonna do this. And then I was like, shit, I have to do this. And I went to Western Costume in Los Angeles, and I got like a Hobbit costume. So I got a book on what hobbits look like, but I had an idea, like knee pants and waistcoat and that thing. I had an idea. I'd read The Hobbit. So I got this costume, and then a friend of mine named George Wang, who directed Swimming with Sharks, has anyone seen that movie? He came over to my house and he shot it with a friend of mine. And there were 3 scenes for Frodo for the audition that were kind of just tailored for the audition. And it was a scene from film 1, 2, and 3 where he's barely himself anymore. And we went into the woods and shot some of this, and then went to the Miramax offices and used their editing bay and cut it together. So we shot it from different angles. And then I took that tape to the casting office the next day and was like, well, God willing, like, here it goes. And I dropped it off. And then I guess the story goes from there that the tape was sent to Peter in London. It was FedExed to him, and he watched it like 3 or 4 days later. And I guess he loved it. And then he came to Los Angeles and saw a number of people in person who he had seen tapes of that he really liked. So I'll never forget going to the casting office that day, because I had to wait because there was a group of people that were going in first before me. So I was sitting and waiting in the office, and I met one of the casting director's assistants who came up to me and he said, man, that tape was really incredible. He's like, I could really tell how passionate you were about this. And that meant everything. Like, I could have walked out, because I just thought, well, I did it. Like, the thing I wanted to achieve, the thing I wanted to convey, I'd conveyed, and this person confirmed it. It was sort of a more triumphant moment at that time than anything. And then I went in and I met Peter, and Fran was there too, and I got to tell her how much I love Heavenly Creatures, because I knew she wrote it. And then I auditioned for them in person. And then it was about, I think, maybe a month or two later that I was at home, and my agent called me and she said, "Stay by the phone. You're going to want to pick up this call." I was like, oh, man. And I picked up the phone, and the voice on the other line said, "Hi, this is Peter Jackson's assistant. Can you please hold for Peter Jackson?" I was like, oh, shit. And then it was Pete on the phone. And I'm in my house in LA, and he says, "Hi, Elijah. I would love for you to play Frodo. We'd love for you to come to New Zealand. Do you want to do that?" And I didn't say much beyond, "Yes, Pete, I would love to do that. Thank you." Hung up the phone and screamed, you know. And my life changed. My life changed in so many profound ways, but my life changed at that moment. It was so extraordinary.
Wow, did you just sit there in your house numb, or make a ton of phone calls, or just...
It was overwhelming, yeah. I don't really even remember, and it's probably a blur because I was
blacked
so
out
over.
for
Yeah,
days.
I blacked out. Yeah.
Woke up with an empty scotch bottle in another county.
Right.
I've been there.
Right, I was at a motel in Nevada on a bender.
That's amazing.
You musical one, with your questions.
Hi, Elijah.
Oh, hey.
Hi. So because you were just talking about your experience as Frodo, I have to tell you that I was probably about 12 or 13 when all of the publicity and press started to happen for Lord of the Rings. And I was convinced that I was in love with you. I wrote you a letter.
Oh.
I did. I told you that I could see it in your eyes. So,
You.
we're meant to be. At least we were when I was 12. So I felt like I should tell you that.
Thank you. That's no question?
No, I have a question.
Oh, okay.
It was.
But thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Is that a tattoo?
It's not real.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of fake tattoos going around
Yeah.
Comic-Con this year.
It's a costume accessory.
Oh, I see. What's your costume? Am I missing something?
I'm Esmeralda,
Oh, right. Great.
obviously.
Where's your hunchback?
He's back in the bell tower.
Right. Where he belongs.
That's right. Somebody's got to ring the bells.
That's true.
No, my question was you just mentioned that it changed your life, this role, and you were flung into just kind of a new level of stardom. And I wondered what that was like for you, and how you handle that kind of transcendental shift in your life.
Yeah, great question. When I refer to that film or those films changing my life, I don't simply refer to the scale and scope of what they became and the fact that, all of us associated with the movie suddenly became recognizable on a level that was far beyond what we could anticipate. It was also because of the experience, It was being in New Zealand for over a year and a half working together. It was the first time, I was 18. So I was 18 when I went to New Zealand, and I think I was 22 and we were all finished in 2003. Hugely, important period in someone's life. And it's the time where someone goes to war or goes to college. I went to New Zealand. But it was really significant. It was the first time I'd lived on my own. It was really kind of a coming of age for me. It was becoming an adult. I made some of the best friends of my life. I was challenged in ways that I'd never been challenged before, physically, mentally, emotionally. It was an exceptional all-around experience of great profundity that has totally influenced the course of my life. Certainly creatively, that's a part of it as well. And I think being recognizable at a certain level was a real shift for all of us. The one thing I felt fortunate to have had a little bit of, because I'd been working since I was 8, I'd had some level of recognizability a little prior to it, so at least I had some kind of, I felt like I had some tools to deal with it on some level. And I was able to compartmentalize very quickly between me and it. I remember people asking me about that, like, does it blow your mind that you're on the side of a building? You know, it was like a giant poster of Lord of the Rings. And I was like, well, yeah, okay, objectively, yes. But it's also that, do you know what I mean? It's like, I somehow was able to separate those two things, which made it a lot easier.
That's a big compartment.
It's a giant,
It's huge
it's
compartment.
really
You've got some
huge,
large
it's a walk-in closet.
Yeah, yeah.
But, you know, I think it was important to do that. I did that, I didn't consciously do that, I just did that naturally. And it was helpful, I think, because otherwise I think that can be very overwhelming. But a lot of that was really fun, too. You know, we were traveling the world as this little circus of elves and hobbits and, you know, kings of men. It was ridiculous. Ridiculous. Every year we'd go to some new country and premiere the film, and it was an amazing ride, and comprised of a group of people who cared deeply for each other, too. It was a real family. So yeah, and then, you know, I think the becoming an adult as a result of having had that experience and all that it encapsulated set me forth on my path as a person. And, you know, led me to where I am here. I think everything that you do does, and that was a huge part of it, I think. Oh, you, ma'am. Yeah. You with the blue hair. I love Comic-Con so much. I really do. It's the best. I went and had brunch, so I'll get to your question in a second, but I had brunch earlier at Cafe 21, and like, you're sitting down and there's like characters from Game of Thrones having brunch in front of you, and then there's somebody else in a hood and a mask, and they're having a Bloody Mary. It's wonderful. It's just so wonderful, and no one bats an eye. It's this time in which everybody gets to express themselves and express the thing that they love, and they're as normal as can be. It's fucking awesome. Anyway. Sorry.
All right, so with the Lord of the Rings stuff, for me, Lord of the Rings concluded with The Hobbit concluding. How does it feel for you knowing that that franchise is kind of done?
Yeah, I guess I felt the significance of that when it really hit me at the panel last year, actually, which was the sort of, they framed it as the kind of final Middle-earth panel, effectively, because it was the last film from the Hobbit series and the last time anyone will, well, at least anyone in Peter Jackson's realm will make a film. So they say now. And it kind of hit me then, because they cut together these video packages that were these legacy pieces that incorporated elements from the Rings and from the Hobbit films, and it as this one whole piece, looking at it as, you know, a period of time, basically from 1997 until now, that Peter and all of these people were involved on this much larger journey. And it kind of had never hit me like that before. So I got wrapped up into that, totally. The notion that the real journey, the long journey has come to an end, and we won't ever go to a cinema and see these characters again in that way. But to a certain degree also, my experience was largely finished when Rings was done. So I'd already had my farewell. I'd already had my, you know, the difficulty of separating from that and saying goodbye, which was really hard.
Did you have anyone you would see when you saw The Hobbit? Was it like an ex-girlfriend dating somebody new? And you're like, oh, this used to be my world. Good luck to you all. Good luck to you all. Is there sort of a missing it at all? Or?
A little, yeah, a little. I experienced that when I went back to New Zealand, because I got to go back and play Frodo for a brief second in the first of the 3 films. And in going back, I met this whole group of people who were having a very similar experience to what we had gone through when we went to New Zealand. So it was amazing. It was like coming in literally 10 years later and meeting this whole new group of people that were having the same kind of experience. They were there for a year and a half as well, or maybe longer. And they had, developed friendships, and they had fallen in love with New Zealand, and they found the prosthetics difficult. It's like, it was commiserating, and I think they got that from me too. It was really kind of lovely, and I hung out a lot. Like I think I only worked 2 days when I went down to New Zealand. I was there for a month, and I just go to set and hang out. I would like drive into Stone Street and go to have lunch and just hang out with the dwarves. Like, I just wanted to be around them. And Ian McKellen was there as well, and there were some reunions. There were some people that I hadn't seen in a long time. A lot of the same crew too. So for me, it was this crazy feeling of like seeing so many people doing the same jobs, and some of them up in higher positions than when we were doing Rings, thankfully. 10 years had passed, it makes sense. But it was the same family, and it was really special, and I kind of wanted to stay around, yes. I wanted to just like hang out for a while, just because I love it there, and I love that atmosphere, and I love those people, and I could see that they were having the vibes were similar, and it was nice to see. It was nice to see. You. Are you a redhead? It looks like it. Can't tell if it's the lights. You are red.
I am.
Hi.
Hi.
I love redheads.
Oh, thanks.
It's a genetic mutation. You are a real-life X-Men. It's only just occurred to me.
So you were talking about traveling, and I love to travel.
So do I. It's the best. I mean, honestly, that is the best privilege that there is in life, is to travel.
Yeah,
It's
seriously.
the best. That's my favorite thing to do.
So I was wondering what your favorite place to go was and why.
In my life.
Torrance.
Right. Carlsbad.
Right under that. What is the second one? Because that's
Right.
obvious. It's obviously Carlsbad.
Obviously, of course. City of Industry.
Yeah. Who?
I've done a lot of traveling in the last couple of years to places I'd never been. And they have been some of my favorite trips. I've spent a bit of time in Turkey over the last few years, and that's been really incredible. Istanbul, for anyone who's never been, is a really remarkable place. It's like this crazy, it sits on the edge of Europe and Asia, so it's like this crazy gateway to the Middle East, but it's not really the Middle East, and it's not really Europe. It's really exceptional, and the food is incredible, and the history there is amazing. You've got these mosques that are so massive, but they were at one point, part of an empire that was not Muslim, so they were churches, and then they were reappropriated over time. It's amazing. Food's great. Raka is this drink that they drink that's awesome. It's like a ouzo sort of thing. They add water to it, and they love it. I love it. Where else? Japan is another favorite. I've only ever been to Tokyo. I've never been outside of Tokyo, but Tokyo is still one of my favorite places on the planet. It's just, I've always loved Japanese culture. I love Japanese food. I love the way that they interpret the Western world and make it their own in such a unique way that only the Japanese can do. It's so awesome. Where else? I mean, obviously New Zealand, guys. Yeah, New Zealand. That's one just sort of goes without saying, I suppose.
Have you ever been to Old Zealand? A lot of people don't get there. It's nice
don't.
too. It's nice.
It is nice. Yeah, it's become a bit of the bastard stepchild at this point.
Yeah.
New Zealand gets all the attention. I'm going to India in September. I've never been to India. I'm gonna go play records there in Mumbai and Bangalore. That's gonna be crazy. And I'm gonna buy crazy Bollywood records from the 70s and 80s, and I can't wait. It'll be awesome. What's that? Singapore? I've never been to Singapore. Never been to Singapore? I should go. I really want to do a big Southeast Asia trip, too. Like, I've been to Thailand. I love Thailand. But I want to do Thailand into, like, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, like, that whole... Culinarily, that's a really exciting trip as well. And Africa, I really want to spend more time in Africa. I've only been to Zambia, but I really want to get to... this doesn't really count, because these aren't places I've gone. I'm just telling you places I want to go. I could do this for, like, an hour. Nigeria, I really want to go to Nigeria. See, I love music, so some of the trips that I want to take are also really musically driven, like places that I buy records. I buy like Nigerians 1970s and 80s records. And I love them. And I want to go to Nigeria and like hear the music there. And I want to go to Jamaica and listen to crazy dub music in Jamaica. Like that, food too, that also drives me. I'm sorry, I'm really rambling now. It's so past.
I wish we could hear some Nigerian 80s music.
Oh, I know.
Just cue it up. Cue it up. What does that sound like? You have it? What?
Is there Wi-Fi here, you guys? All right,
It's
good.
got a crazy password.
Oh, no, really?
Oh, there's an open network.
Is that Nerd HQ? Is that open? Shit, yeah.
What's you have to give the name of the song too, because that's gonna be in the band as well.
Sure. So this is, hang on, I'm gonna do it via Spotify. Hang on, guys.
This is Nigerian.
Yeah, this is Nigerian.
Okay.
All right.
I'm just checking to see if you listen to the same Nigerian music I listen to. So I'm way into that stuff.
All right, so this would be, I think, early 80s Nigerian. This is William Onyebor. Does anybody know who William Onyebor is?
Yes.
I've played this video game. Not to insult it, but
It's, drum machines and synthesizers in Nigeria. Pretty awesome.
wow. Are there words to it?
Yeah, there are.
We would have sung along if we got there.
We could have gotten there,
Yeah,
but
we
I
could
don't
have all
want to
sung
take up.
along.
I don't
want
want
this side, just that side. That's cool. Thank you for sharing
Yeah,
that.
you're welcome. Check out William Onyebor. He's great. If y'all have a Spotify.
His
account.
later stuff got a little weird.
It did actually a little bit. It got a little really digital and funny. That's awesome. All right, it's my job to pick somebody. I'm so not used to this. You're very enthusiastic. Yeah, you. Oh, we've got confusion.
Oh,
No, it's cool because then we're gonna get to her. You guys are you're in a direct line.
Okay.
It's fine.
I'll be quick then.
No, don't be quick. It's you.
Hi.
Hi.
So, what directors do you look up to and are inspired by, and are there any dream directors you'd like to work with in the future?
Ooh, man. Good question. Wow. I'm inspired by a lot of filmmakers. I mean, there's a lot of filmmakers growing up that I've always loved. Steven Spielberg's a master. I've always loved the Coen brothers. I think Wes Anderson's wonderful. I mean, those are people that have really distinct voices. There's so many people I want to work with. There's a lot of young directors, people who are coming up now. There's a guy called Jeremy Saulnier. Has anyone seen Blue Ruin? It's so good. It's his first movie. It's exceptional. It's such a strong first feature. I go to this film festival every year called Fantastic Fest, and I feel like they program the best movies in the world with some of the best filmmakers and emerging filmmakers. And
Where is that?
it's in Austin, Texas.
Oh, cool.
So every September for 8 days at the Alamo Draft House, so it's one location. People converge on this one cinema. It's kind of a remarkable thing because most times with a film festival, it tends to be within a city, so there's multiple venues and people are going from venue to venue. This takes place at one place, so everything is there. The parties, everything. And there's no separation between the film goers and the filmmakers. So, if Ben Wheatley is there showing A Field in England, great movie if no one's seen it, he'll show the movie, enter the film, and then he'll be at the highball drinking. Like, you can go find him and tell him, I think Field in England's great. And it's just, and everyone's doing karaoke together. Like, it's such a special thing. It really feels unique that that's a rare thing. When you go to Sundance, you know, you're either amongst the crowd of people going to the cinema, or you know, you're not hanging out with the filmmakers. And I think it's a really lovely distinction that at Fantastic Fest it's just kind of this mess of people who all relate on this one common thing, which is that they love movies. It's a great celebration of film. So I've met a lot of people at these festival, or that particular festival, and there's a lot of directors there that I admire, and I realized that there's this kind of community around cinema, that there can be this community around cinema, and it's sort of a beautiful thing, and relationships actually happen there and extrapolate into creative endeavors, and it's kind of happened in my life. Like, I made this movie called Grand Piano. Thanks. Because I met Eugenio Mira at Fantastic Fest, and then I ended up working with Nacho Vigalondo because I met him at Fantastic Fest. Like, there's something about that. I know I'm not totally answering your question. I'm going on a community utopia tangent, but that's what inspires me. I'm inspired by creative people, and I think the older I get, the more I just want to work with my friends too. You know. There's something empowering about a group of people wanting to support each other. But in answer to your question, there's a lot of directors that I would love to work with, and I hope I get that chance.
Elijah, this
what?
has to
Are
be
you
a real
kidding?
quick,
Is that
just
time's
real
up
quick,
for
real
real?
quick, yeah.
I could do this all day.
So could we.
An hour's not enough time, y'all.
Do you want to ask your question real quick? Who almost asked the question?
That was you.
It was me, yes. Hi.
Final question, no pressure.
It has to be a true or false question.
Oh my God.
Kidding. Go on.
I'm a fellow nerd, went into science, and I was just...
You went into science?
I'm a researcher, yeah.
A researcher?
Environmental health.
Oh, yeah.
I was just curious if there's any other passions that you might have pursued had you not gone into film.
It probably would have been creative on some level. I've always loved photography, so that is something that I would probably still do or could have done perhaps if as a singular career. I've always loved music, so being involved on some level. But I DJ, so I do feel like I have that outlet. I play records, and I've done it for a long time for fun, but over the last 4 or 5 years, I've kind of taken it more seriously, and I'm actually taking trips to do that specifically, which is really lovely.
You should DJ here at Comic-Con, like do a hard rock night.
I'm actually DJing tonight, you guys.
Yo! Where are you DJing?
It's a Mashable party. I think if you go to Mashable's Twitter, I'm not sure where it is. If you go to their Twitter, I retweeted it earlier. If you go to mine, actually, I retweeted it earlier where it's happening. But at 8 o'clock tonight.
Are you DJ something?
No, when I DJ with my friend Zach, and we go under Wooden Wisdom. Because his DJ name is Turquoise Wisdom, and we just dub ourselves Wooden Wisdom. So we're a DJ pair, and we have a musical conversation with records on stage.
I did a porn by that same name. All right, everybody. Elijah Wood!
Guys, thank you so much.
Beautiful.